have been covering immigration on and off for the last 15 years. Actually 16 now. No, 17. I started off in Atlanta, Georgia, which had experienced triple-digit % growth in the Latino population. Found out that was mostly due to building the facilities for the Olympics. And I thought to myself, how could that be? Subcontractors. That's an easy way to get around the verification process. And actually, they tried to punish employers back in 1986 with the bill that Reagan signed, giving amnesty to about 2 million people. It wasn't a lot. There were some others. I think they had to be in the country just since 1982 or before 1982. I'm a little sketchy on the details, but I just want to say that I would like to personally thank every single law-abiding immigrant who has either crossed illegally and not officially gotten a green card, but has worked here diligently, faithfully, working hard, and very serious about their jobs. I want to thank you for contributing to our economy. I want to thank you for oftentimes paying taxes. I want to thank you for being law-abiding. I want to thank you for being my friend. I want to thank all my friends who are here and who are not officially authorized to be here. And I want to thank all my friends who I know who have become citizens, even as recently as this year. I want to say you've made this country better, and I hope you'll never forget that. So that said, when I was covering the Latino population, a large percentage of whom were working in poultry factories, carpet factories, the fields, the Dahlia onion fields, of course construction. So very, very, very different, a wide variety of jobs. And construction jobs are really, really good, high-paying jobs. It took me a while to figure out that, and then the denim factories as well, some industries, the employers really, really do benefit big time by paying less to people who live, 18 people to a trailer. And other times, they're still making money with construction, but there are Americans who want to do those jobs and have wanted to do those jobs. So what I'm trying to say is talk about my learning process. And I met a woman. I don't know where she is now, but she was a very vocal advocate in her sweet, kind way for all the undocumented in Georgia. And she was at every event that I was at, and I was covering that for a bilingual weekly in English and Spanish. So one day, not long before I think I left that job, I was talking to her at an event, and she said to me, the border should be secured. I am for border protection. I'm for reinforcement and enforcing of the laws at the border. And at first I was crestfallen. I thought it was disloyal. I thought it was strange and odd that somebody like that would be spending all their time helping workers here in the United States, helping people to treat them well, trying to convince Americans that there were no threat whatsoever and that they didn't use more resources than Americans. Well, I said, why? And she said, because the people who benefit the most from a lax border wall are employers, people who have room to exploit these workers because these workers can be afraid of losing their legal status. So I thought about this for a long time, but gradually I came to see that border security and truly truly keeping the border controlled and having workers here that have their proper identification, are authorized, and are welcomed here with a visa. That is all very, very important because it protects the worker. The worker otherwise can be fired immediately upon being injured, or even they could even be, critically injured or killed, and pretty much the employer can do whatever they want. The problem as well is that those employers who want to be honest are not going to be able to compete and outbid their competitors. So I just want to say that I've gone through an evolution. I wrote for another newspaper more recently, a couple years ago, and I found myself talking to both immigrants and just average Americans and trying to understand the mentality of oftentimes Republicans or just regular, many times rural Americans, vis-a-vis undocumented immigrants. And sorry that I'm hesitating. It's just everything is so touchy these days that I just want to make sure I choose my words carefully and that I don't offend anyone, because that is not my intention. So I started to really do some more research and say, now, is there a downside? I would always ask the advocates that were in the churches and the lawyers and everything. Now, I mean, people don't want to do those jobs, right? Or I'd say, what jobs are we talking about here? Just to make sure. And finally I realized, yes, some of these jobs people don't want to do, but it's mostly farm work. Poultry is a tough gig, and eggs and farming. And even if you go on like ZipRecruiter, you'll see ads for farm workers and pickers. This was before Trump, and the duties that they are required to perform are, off the charts. So, all that is valid, all that's true. Many are needed. That needs to be fixed so that there's no exploitation of them. There's no undercutting, there's no paying them less to then gain an edge over your competitor. So, I just want to say that I am baffled by the lack of ability by Donald Trump to get his message across, because his message is actually not